Did you know in 2020, over 12,000 businesses completely went out of business? And these are retail businesses, which is, of course, the heart and soul of our landscape. And I am super excited because today I get to share with you some insights from a marketing expert to help you not only just grow your business and scale it, but also keep you from going out of business through utilizing her expertise. But before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and cue our intro. Welcome to Business Insights with Matt Milia. I'm your host, Matt Milia, and in this podcast, we'll talk about the real, raw, uncut business success secrets you won't find anywhere else. Follow my journey from entry level to CEO. We discuss real actionable items you can plug into your business right away. To subscribe to our weekly top tips, you can go to www.mattpodcast.com and join our community of elite high-level performers. And if you're interested in our inside sales company, you can go to www.appointmentstoday.com to jump on a free strategy call. And now, stay tuned for our podcast. All right. What is going on, Paulina? I am pumped to have you on. And for everyone who doesn't know you, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, my friends. My name is Paulina Bartnicka, but many people call me your girl, Paulina. There's always a funny story behind that. But I am the owner of Majesty Marketing, and I love helping owners stay in business by creating amazing events and bringing their social media audience in person, creating that bridge. That's basically the sum of what I do.
Okay. What was it that motivated you to get into? Because it's a very unique industry, but at the same time, it's so vital for growth and using social media, but also being able to bridge that gap between being in the computer and then all of a sudden now you get to meet your patrons, your fans, your raving fans, creating raving fans.
Your future clients.
Exactly. How did you come up with that? What was the thought process?
Well, when I was a young girl, I was born in Poland, and my mom was one of the coolest moms ever because she threw the best parties of my life. That's the best memories I have of her. And then unfortunately, one day when I was in my 20s, my mom passed away and the party ended. And through my grieving process, the things that really cheered me up the most was thinking back to those amazing memories. So in my career, when I originally moved to Connecticut, was there for a long time, and now I've been in Florida for the last 9 years. I was meeting all these different local businesses, and they're like, well, you're a marketing company. How can you help me? I don't do traditional marketing. I do marketing through events and giving them that bridge. So I figured out that there's a great way to have a party, not just feel like you're paying for alcohol and getting everyone tipsy, but you can actually get some great results out of it. So I've been really helping, for example, a business right now that I'm working with is a grand opening. And, it seems like an easy party that you could just kind of chill, hang out, lay back. But I was like, what are we going to do to get yourself some referrals out of this, some calls to action? Let's think about it. So I suggested this office happens to have 5 smaller little offices inside to do a quick scavenger hunt. And in that scavenger hunt, they get to ask questions like, this business happens to be a title business. So they're going to say, who's the best referral source for us? And it's going to say, bop, 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 and then all the above. So you literally just learn who the best sources are for them. And then probably people might be feeling like, oh, I know someone for you. Now I can help you. I would love to learn more about this business. It's a great way to also present yourself in front of their audience, create that Instagram moment inside of the party, get a cool step and repeat banner, make it almost like a red carpet moment, but you're going to make sure that you're looking super great so you can take pictures with all of your friends and colleagues that are coming to your event. And that way you're showing yourself to all these people that they know that are for sure local, that potentially could be referral sources, business, clients, anything in between. So that's just one of the ways we're doing things. But I think the reason why I have so much passion for it is because, in a sense, sometimes when I'm at a party and I look around and I'm like, ah, this is so great. It's almost like my mom's kind of there. We're having like our little moment again. And it just means a lot to me, you know? Typically, I have the best clients ever that really appreciate the vibe and the energy that we bring into everything. And my favorite part of my business is that I'm able to start to slowly create jobs for people. That's something I really, really wanted to work on this year. So
I love it. And for everyone that's watching down below, I have her website. It's majesty-marketing.com. Definitely check it out. I was actually impressed just by the website and the animation. As soon as I jumped on, I'm like, all right, I like this. But it's a vibe, and at the same time, it's not just a vibe. It's being able to deliver on that, being able to bring people together, being able to bridge that gap between the social space. So if you would maybe share some examples, like what are some events that you've done, and is there a specific niche or a favorite type of store I know I don't want to ask you a favorite client.
It's hard to have a favorite. Yeah. It really is, because for an example, I just did the Dillards Bridal show, which was a huge corporation to work with. They were wonderful. I felt like all these vendors that participated in the show got serious leads that turned into business for them. Now we're heavy into wedding season. They're all doing great. And I thought to myself after that event, that was my favorite. But then within that same week, that Friday, I did a celebration of life. And though that's not a business type of event, it had my heart, because I got to really meet the family, learn about their dad, and we went above and beyond. Like, we created little napkins with Billisms, funny words he would say because he had a crazy Italian accent. We made sure to get the type of DJ that would not be too aggressive or anything like that. But if you could believe it, we actually had them dancing at the end of the night. And awesome. I love those kinds of details. But right now, what's happening, it's like October right now. A lot of my clients are doing either some sort of an open house or an opportunity to share any new procedures or products or services that they're offering. I say procedures because one of my clients is a doctor. So, there's so many different ways that I could help. But, to give you an example of how that works. So typically when a client calls me, they kind of share the scenario, and I give them like a little interview saying, what are your goals for this party? Is it just to have a party? Or are you thinking about something else? And they're like, well, I didn't even think of anything else. I thought if I just got people together, things would just happen. And they do. But isn't it so much better when you can actually like make sure that they happen? And it's that much better and a huge impact. So typically when I meet with the clients first, we go over the location. I figure out the vibe. I work with the DISC profile system. So I think about each type of personality that's going to walk through the room and who is going to feel comfortable where. So if you're like me, I'm an I. So I'm the kind of person that's like, if you invite me to a party, I don't care what the parking situation is. Just give me an address. Tell me the time. I'll show up. I'll figure it out. I'm really easygoing. But if you're somebody like my fiance who loves reading the whole menu, the whole contract, and needs to know where the parking is and everything else, I will always have all those types of details prepared. So once you walk into the party, where's that shyer person going to go? They're going to go straight for the bar. So the bar has to be somewhere close by. Then I literally kind of immerse myself in that personality. And I think, what are they going to do next? The bar is a perfect area because other people start coming. So they're going to start chatting a little bit. But if I give them an activity to do, so they don't immediately have to talk to people because that's not their comfort zone, they'll do a little scavenger hunt or check out the photo booth area. Whenever we do a photo booth, it always has the company's logos, something that's going to be fridge worthy, so that you're then on top of mind. Every time you're going to go get a snack or water, you're thinking about the business that you just attended. And, photo booths now have like the best filters. You look super great. So you want to keep them up usually.
Right.
So, yes. And then always some sort of a way to collect information. What's really great now is that we have Eventbrite and different ways to invite people. So we are typically collecting their information before they even get there. I like to give them little teasers of what's going to be happening, or I always encourage a great raffle because, sometimes people are just looking for opportunities to network. So if it's an open party where anyone can come, I probably would recommend doing a few little sponsored ads to get other people to share what your mission and vision is. So like I was sharing, I'm working with those two ladies from the title business. They're badass boss babes. They are fantastic. They have fashion. They love the community. They spread love everywhere they go. Like, do you think we're even talking about the party? Really? Not really in our messaging right away. At first, we're kind of giving them a little sneak peeks of what they're all about. So in that first interview, I kind of coach them a little bit on what we're going to be talking in the next few videos. Because I don't really consider myself a social media manager. I'm kind of more of a coach where I guide you to say what we're going to say. And then if you do need some little poster graphics put together, I have a team that could help with that. But I think, when it is an open kind of event, you have really an opportunity to get the exact people you want in the room and target them perfectly. So having a call to action at the actual event is very important. And it could just be as simple as, hey, want to win this? Sign up here, and then capture, if they brought a friend, you haven't captured their information yet. Now you have it. And communicating afterwards is very, very important. So what I like to do is I like to take all the photos from either the photographer or the photo booth, or if a bunch of friends put stuff out there online, I usually have them create a hashtag so that you can find them easily and collect all of them, create a little album, and send out a huge thank you and say, hey, whoever wasn't there, check out what you missed. And it just creates this wonderful friendship where it's not like, hey, do you want to read the latest information about title? Like, who really raises their hand for that? It's more like, hey, here's this great thing we just did. And by the way, we do title. Thanks. So those are just a few little things that I like to think that really makes our events effective.
I'm going to go back about 5 minutes. And here's why. Because you gave a ton of information. But the first thing, well, no, it's great. The first thing I thought about was you started talking about this person's an I, and then, but I'm this. And there are so many people. So what she's talking about is the DISC profile system, which you have D, which is dominant, I is influencer, S is steady, C is compliant. So somebody who is a D, like I'm 99 D and 91 I.
Wow.
So and it's kind of a chameleon type of thing because, and if I have a few drinks, I'm super I at that point. But normally it's more like the driver is the one that sort of controls the day to day. But I will say that is so, I mean, for everyone that's watching, that's brilliant. And I will tell you that there are some multi-million-dollar corporations I've worked with that's one of the things they hone in on, because you need to know what is the personality type, what is that person into, what are they going to gravitate towards, and what are they going to stay away from. And knowing that the folks that come there have that specific personality makes a huge difference. Now, I am curious, and I'm not trying to go too deep into that because you've just probably created an entire new talking point for a long amount of time, but I'm interested in that, of course. So let's start here. When you bring in a new client, do you use that for them? And then you also say the people that are going to show up at the events, do you have a way of vetting the people that show up to the events to know or is it based on like behavioral things or?
So there's actually like so many personality types. Those are just like 4 common ones that you can kind of put. I hate putting anyone in a box, but for the sake of science, right? Like I try to just dive into the common things. But when I'm onboarding a client, I actually give them a full interview and ask them sometimes specific questions, or I give them a quick little survey to do, depending on how busy they are. So I always ask them, like, how do you deal under stress? How do you prefer communicating with people? What is your mission for how you want to present yourself at the party? Do you want to be the kind of host that's getting drinks for people, or do you want to actually have somebody walking around with a tray that serves everybody and you get to be a guest at the party? So we really prepare all of that. And usually with those few questions, I'm able to kind of say, okay, she's like a heavy D. So I'm going to make sure that whenever I come to her, and if there's a problem, I already have a solution in my pocket. So that's really helps me in my business all around, even how I communicate with people. Because have you ever met somebody and they just don't like you? Like there's nothing you can do. It happens. I mean, I'm a
It
very
happens.
positive person.
Yeah.
Some people are like, "Are you always this happy?" I'm like, "Yeah." But because I know this exists and it's a real thing, I'm able to communicate with them that maybe I need to calm down my, my super kind of feeling and be a little bit calmer to them and really listen more than I speak. So there's really great ways that you can prepare yourself. And there's also this book called The Clifton. What is it called? I just did it. It's like, oh, it's right here. It's the Discover Your Clifton Strengths. If you want to see it, this book is amazing. This book, actually, I'm going to be using for every client and not client, but every employee that I onboard. So I know how to work well with them. This has been a life changer for me. And I feel like it's definitely always going to be a part of my business. So yeah.
It's funny that you bring that up because so I used to use something called the Gallup's Poll Strengths Finder, which it's an online portal. You can go on there, you can see what specific characteristic traits that you have. And then there's Myers-Briggs, which Myers-Briggs I feel is very wide. You've got 16 different personality profiles. It tells you, I think I'm an ENTP, I believe is what mine is. I want to say Stephanie is an INFJ. I can't remember all of, but there's so many different ones, and I think it's good because you're able to decipher and distill and figure out, okay, who's going to get along. And it's not always based on that, because there's some people, like I look at myself as a chameleon, feel like I can get put into any situation and I will figure it out. But there are a lot of cases or times where there are people that might be a little bit more reserved or a little bit more, they might hold back. I used to struggle with C personalities and convincing and persuading them, because I was always so, let's go. Here's some data. Let's go. And that's, of course, the D, and then, with the I personality coming out, it was easy for me to do that, but it was good. It was good to learn that about myself.
It really is. Like, when you think of an event planner, like, what kind of toolbox do they have, right? It's not always necessarily centerpieces, guys. Sometimes
it's so
you got to put a little science and everything into it, and also recognize that your personality does change over time. As I'm getting older, I'm noticing that I'm going from an I to like a DI, because I'm definitely starting to, feel more comfortable, and I'm super fast in my decisions. But having this toolbox for me has totally changed my perspective on everything, and has given me so much confidence to just, walk into that big firm and meet that CEO and share with him exactly how I can bring value. That is all day. That's what I'm about.
You got to. And I mean, so going back to the events side of things, like I said, we could talk all day on the personality side. By the way, for everyone watching, majestymarketing.com. If you have, so your ideal client, of course, retail, but you brought up too, title, which is very interesting. And that has to do, of course, with real estate. So you're throwing events, and pretty much if someone can throw an event.
Yes. I love corporate events because I love giving them some results, right? That's what business is all about, results.
Right.
But I also love personal events. I do a lot of weddings. I have a venue here in Palm Harbor. It's a beautiful garden. So for anybody that loves that nature and fire tables and waterfalls and the romance, that is the perfect venue for you. And that's originally how I got into the party scene. I was always, my jobs were some sort of marketing or admin. And I would always say, hey, boss, let me throw you an open house. Let me do this. Let me do that. And then suddenly I was like, whoa, I think I developed something smart here. I never really considered myself to be like a genius, because I gotta be honest, like sometimes people look at party planners, they're like, is that even a real job? And I think that I finally created this formula for me that works, that I feel really confident about. So yes, title, real estate agents are awesome because they're always out there. They're always networking. And what better if you could bring all those people right back to you and show them how you shine? That's the best.
So true.
Attaching something to a good charity that you're passionate about is always kind. But I also love to challenge myself, because events are all kinds of ways to create memories for people. So I figured I have this beautiful garden. I decided to help out musicians. Musicians are usually super creative, have no idea on how to promote themselves well. Some of them just like tag in like the second they arrive to the venue and let everyone know they're playing, where maybe they could use Majesty Marketing that already has a venue and a platform for them. You know, we take care of the marketing, the ticket sales, and then I've been able to ask local businesses to become a part of it because I can't sell alcohol at the venue. It's literally for private parties only where you're serving people. And I have businesses that want to sponsor it, and they even want to bartend because they want to connect with the people. So I really want to keep challenging myself. Like, how can I help everybody? Give me any business. I want to be able to be like, hey, I got a plan for you. And it's always outside of the box thinking. That's what everyone always says. He's like, I would have never known. And actually, this party, again, is with a different title company and a mortgage company. And they wanted to give themselves some visibility in the city that it's in, which is Palm Harbor, Florida. So I really feel like now that this formula has been really strong, I could pretty much help any set type of business.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's the deep personality coming out right there. There you go. I had to throw that back, but I love it. That's awesome because no matter what, I mean, we were a part of an event. We're up in Ohio for, it's called the Rock and Rescue. And what they do is they take the proceeds and they give it back to organizations that fight against human trafficking. And there are so many, actually, just thinking about this in terms of different charities, different just different things that you could do in your space. I mean, it really is limitless because these events bring people together, and if it's going towards even a greater good, I mean, that's amazing. So I love that. And the one thing I did want to ask, just to sum everything up, because I think that there's so much to this. You said that what you do isn't just centerpieces.
Yeah.
Thank you. So with that being said, are you actually providing things like that? Or is it what does the service look like? Because is it you do this and then you refer other outside people, or
I do work with amazing vendors throughout Tampa Bay. We have some of the most talented vendors I've ever met. Like, I did events back in Connecticut. Sorry, CT, but whoa, there are some power players here. I do have some things that I rent out, like basic things, like, you know, a quick centerpiece is like flowers or something. So this grand opening, it deserves a little something, but not too much because that's not the focus. But yes, I especially where I learned to throw one heck of a party was Amici's Catering. They're out of Oldsmar, Florida. They have been around for 38 years, and they have such a passion for what they do. I literally immersed myself, even though I was just their marketing director. I went to every party to learn, to take pictures, to share, and I really enjoyed it. They pretty much cater most of my events if you're here in Florida.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've got like DJs, for example, if like they wanted a DJ, or so are you also handling, and again, I don't want to go too deep into this side of it, but maybe it's something that would be good for everyone that's watching. Are you able to, like, do you have the communication with these individuals, or do they contact them directly, or how does that all play out?
If it's, yes, I typically handle everything. We discuss it before we create an agreement to ask them, you know, what is it that we can help you with? What's something that's totally you can't get to, but you really would love? I communicate with my vendors almost every day, truly, because there's always something going on. It just hasn't really stopped. My vendors are, to give you some examples: catering, photo booths, DJs, photographers, videographers. Then there's big production companies like Cheers. They're building full winter wonderland sets for me for a wedding in December. So If you want it to snow while you're walking down the aisle, I can do that.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. But then for more of the corporate stuff, it's a little bit more of like promotions, online stuff, coaching you, helping you deliver that message, and making sure that you really get to experience the party the way that you want to be and feel. and then getting you some results each and every time. And I wanted to give you, I actually thought one of my favorite events I ever did for corporate was, it's called Tampa Bay's largest speed networking event. I think it's time to bring it back. Speed networking is so awesome. You could be the person that hosts it, looking like, presenting yourself as an expert in your field. So you get a moment or two to share what you're doing. But who are you if you don't have customers, right? So giving them an opportunity to let you in on what you're doing, creating those plans in front of them, and then saying, hey, meet all of my friends, meet my referral partners. Let's network together and have fun.
Right.
Speed networking covers every type of personality. If you're outgoing like me, you're going to love this. You're like, another new person, great. If you're shy, you have a perfect little script, because you can have, I had sponsors donate notebooks with their logos on it, and they had like questions in there so that you knew what to ask the person in front of you, because it happens so quickly, So speed networking is really awesome, and adding little activities for stuff during the event, like that's really important. Yeah.
So true. Well, you have to have I mean, I feel like that's the most important thing. There has to be some sort of activities during the event, something that brings people together, where they're open to interacting with each other and coordinating with each other. And I'm sure you've seen so many different things on so many different levels when it comes to, either events that are maybe a little bit more simple, or events where they've got a lot of different things like 50-50 raffles, giveaways. They've got, there's so many
life-size games. Like we've taken we took a big company in the area. We took them ziplining, and they did like the team building exercises. And what I would love to be able to do is to call out to all those big businesses up north and say, hey, you guys need to come down for a week and let us plan all of your stuff, some team building, some great parties, some good times, show you a little bit of Florida, and set you up so you have the most powerful year when you guys get back, because they're going to bond so much. It's going to be the strongest team. So that's what I would love to have an experience with. And I think that, people are dying for events right now. It's been a really tough couple of years, and to see each other again is really great. One thing that I've been really kind of pressing in all my parties is, as it's going on, the owners usually come up and say a couple of kind words, expressing their gratitude and sharing what's next for them. And then we pass the microphone around to the whole party and ask people, what are they grateful for this year?
Wow.
You know what that does? Oh my. It really shares with people their hearts. We get to stop being so corporate, because in my opinion, there's not enough vulnerability in business.
True.
Like people think we're robots, and I'm like, it's okay. You can share a little bit of your heart. So when we went around and did that at the last event, it was so powerful. With all these women immediately came closer, because you went through that. I'm so grateful you're okay. Friendships were made, referrals were happening. It's just so exciting to like stand there and watch it. And many times, depending on my relationship with the client, sometimes I'm even invited to the party. So I get to experience it too. And I'm like, dang, this stuff works. This is pretty good.
I was gonna ask you that if you get to, because I'm like, man, like you get paid to party. I'm like, I'm in the wrong business. Like, as the first thing coming to my mind, I'm like, maybe I should. I think this.
However, I'll gotta tell you, like right now, after this last year, and just thinking about, we're always on the grind, right? I know everybody that's listening right now could relate. You're nonstop working. And with the way the world is, people will text you or contact you till like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
My only request, beautiful people, is celebrate your life. This is the one and only chance we get. Even if it's a party for your business, I promise you it's going to create beautiful memories for you. Get out there. And so I'm kind of in a journey for myself right now, discovering how I want to celebrate my life. I've been at other people's parties for the last couple of years. I'm just getting ready to plan my wedding now and everything else. So I'm like asking myself all these questions. How do I want to experience it? How do I want to be? What do I want to feel like? It really opens people up. So genuine conversations and kind of forcing them on people, like that gratitude thing, is a really great way. At first, they're going to be like, no. And then they're going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I have 10 more things to share.
Well, and it's funny you should say that, because for our wedding, for my wife and I, it was 10 years ago now, but I remember they passed around, I thought this was really cool. We had a photographer and videographer, and the videographer passed around and asked, hey, what are some messages that you have for Matt and Steph? What are some things you want to share with them? And it was so cool just to have that as something to look back on and be like, oh, wow, like you don't even remember, because there's so much going on in that moment. And for everyone that's watching that's in marketing, those are also good things to have in your marketing repertoire, because now it's like you're able to share an experience, but you're demonstrating that experience through social media, and having it set up the right way is key. But
yes.
That's so
So
cool.
what you were just saying about what you did at your wedding, I do a little version of that at certain events where I have this big clear jar and it says advice jar on it. And so I recently used it for a graduation party, but I'm thinking, why not for a grand opening? Make people sign it, or share your favorite memory we've ever had together, or something like that. Even in my home personally, we have what we call the hooray box, and we like write down things. And then, every couple of months you go back and read it. It feels so good. So do that for every type of party, in my opinion.
I have to do that. I like that idea. It's called the hurry box?
I call it the hooray box.
Like, hooray. I was like, hurry. Like, I get told hurry up plenty of times. So, hooray. Okay. I like that. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, for everyone here that's watching, again, go to Paulina's site, majestymarketing.com. And Paulina, anything that you wanted to touch on? Any closing thoughts? Anything that you wanted to share prior to us closing it out?
Absolutely. What I wanted to share with you, friends, is that you should totally find me on Instagram and Facebook at Your Girl Paulina. And if you have any questions, or you just need a quick little idea or anything like that, I think I have it posted somewhere. Ask me anything, because it's a great way to meet people. Like, I don't love when people friend me and they never talk to me, so I'm always encouraging some sort of interaction. So if you're thinking about having a party, or you're like, I don't have anything to celebrate, let's talk, because I'm pretty sure I could find you a reason why. I'm a very optimistic person, and I think my job in this world, in this life, is to literally help people celebrate the one and only gift we have, which is this life, and it's going by so quick.
It's true. I know you're an optimistic person, because I remember jumping into a networking group at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I could barely keep my eyes open, and you're just like, woo! I'm like,
yes.
What? Am I in the right? Wow, the energy. But I love that. That's awesome. And that's contagious. That is so, it's a part of your identity, your personality, and it spreads goodwill to others, which is awesome. So, and I actually feel better now that we shot this than I did before. So I am excited though to watch your business grow. And I love the personality idea, the actual execution you're putting into place. It gave me an idea, but you're executing on it. So I definitely think that there's some opportunities there for me as well. So for everyone that's tuned in, thank you so much. We will see you guys all same channel, same time next week. And Paulina, thank you again. It was awesome having you on.
It was such an honor to be here, and I had so much fun. Thank you so much. You're an amazing host, Matt. You just rock.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.